Good afternoon, everybody. This is the advertised time and the advertised place for the March 21st, 2024 Planning Board meeting. Would you please stand and join me in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our first meeting of spring 2024.
Is that what you call it?
Spring? Yeah, well,
That's a good start.
technically it's spring. We have no public hearings tonight, so we're going to get right into discussion items. And number one is Extra Space Riverhead with Matt Charters.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Extra Space Riverhead. More just a recap to bring members of Nicky up to speed. This predates his time on the board. We had a public hearing on this application back in December. This is for self-storage on the main road, if everyone's familiar where Dairyland is. This is the vacant parcel behind it. There's actually some derelict cottages on it that they're going to remove. Pretty deep into the review on this, 2 stories, 36,000 square feet about on each floor. I do have a draft preliminary approval prepared for this. A little work to do on the applicant's end still. They'll have to get their SWIP approved. They have a conditional water availability letter that's been issued with a number of conditions that will have to be met, and some changes to the plan. Nothing really substantial, just some changes to landscaping and make sure they comply with our code. If the board remembers, this did get a variance from the zoning boards for use and for coverage, but everything else looks good to march this along. Pretty good use. ARB's approved the elevations as well. So it's going to be a nice looking building.
Matt, how many units are on the first or second floor?
Now, Richie, how many units are on the first floor?
I really don't know the breakdown, to be honest with you. Probably like 80 a floor, something like that, because they do the smaller box ones, and then
Right.
closet ones, and the drive-up ones.
Excuse me, sir. Would you mind speaking at the microphone?
And just introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, Richard Bono, agent for the owners. The downstairs floors will have the drive-up doors on the outer part of the building. The inside of the first floor will have the smaller spaces, and then the upstairs will have basically the closet-size ones and like the larger, size closet-size ones. So yeah, I'm not really sure about the count on how many there are. We haven't figured that out yet. That will come with the full building plans when we submit them.
Yeah, self-storage is pretty low traffic generator generally.
Well, the only thing I see what's been going on at some places that contractors are renting the bottom levels, which have more space, so lots of times they're in and out of there almost every day.
Yeah, so I would say this would preclude anybody, for this use, they couldn't operate a business out of there per se. I mean, someone could store in a storage unit, but we would want to ensure, we could do that through code enforcement, that someone's not, essentially running like a special trade contractor operation out of a storage unit.
Not an
with trucks and stuff like that, but they could come in and, just store things.
right, or to back up their trailer to leave it there, because if their neighborhood doesn't allow, trade vehicles there, they may just leave it there, which my contention is that then they're going in and out twice a day.
Yeah, and I don't, outdoor storage isn't allowed or contemplated in this, for this use anyway as part of the variance, because they needed a variance for the use, but it's not allowed in this zone. So I couldn't really see where they would be leaving trailers outside anyway.
No, not outside, even inside.
Oh, inside, they could if it fit, I would
Right,
say,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, even if you had a trade contractor who was working like for, on the South Fork or out on the East End, typically these guys start very early. So I mean, even if you had a contractor who was storing his tools in in one of these units potentially, these guys get out on the road by like 5 o'clock to beat the trade parade. So they wouldn't necessarily even conflict with like a peak hour.
Yeah.
If they were getting in at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, picking up some stuff out of a trailer. But it's not to run a business out of. They're not tinting windows in this. They're not manufacturing in the unit.
Right.
But I mean, it's self-storage.
Now, they all have electric in each storage though, right?
Yes, they do.
So in other words, if a carpenter can cut some wood or something like that,
They essentially wouldn't be allowed to do that.
They're not allowed to do that. There'll be manager on site during all business hours. So we'll have between 2 to 3 employees that will be there on site. Extra Space will not allow that. This isn't multiple buildings like you usually see, like the one that's on the south side of the river, where they have like 3 different buildings. This is just one standalone building. It's going to be policed by the person who's inside of it all day long. So you know, it's a lot stricter inside the one buildings when it's all
Right.
housed inside one, which is what we got here. So you're not going to
especially-
have any of that.
Especially for this application, most of the units are accessed inside the building, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
you
except for the ones with the doors, and the
Just
doors
the
wouldn't be
doors on
able to
this
fit
side.
those
door?
type of trailers in there anyway. Those spaces,
Okay.
they're not that big.
All right.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that's a concern of the board, you know, like having electrical connections in each unit, I mean, to me is not necessarily, like, it's not typical of a storage unit. Usually, you know, I've rented a storage unit when I was, you know, between my apartment and finding my house.
Not to interrupt you, I would think it's very minimal, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, lighting, you know, just for lighting.
yeah, like usually you just got a light, you know, a little pull-down light
Yeah.
switch. It's not like you're gonna have an electrical service.
A 20
gonna-
amp breaker in there to
Yeah.
operate a
It's gonna
store.
come down to the,
I think you're right about that too. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't think they will have electric.
minimal.
I think the downstairs ones do, but
But
like,
not the
like they signed it, like Kim just told me that there is an agreement for each one of them that they go in there, and they know what they can do and what they can't do, and operating anything inside of it except storing
I mean,
whatever materials or tools, whatever. That's all that is allowed.
and I don't wanna speak for the applicant, but I don't think it would be beneficial for them as a business to allow that to happen, because then they're not being really a good neighbor, and it's gonna be sort
Well,
of.
that's right, that's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the tenants gonna be required to, like, list what they're storing in there? Like, if you had a pool supply guy with, as far as how much chlorine, or a plumber as far as acetylene, things like that?
Yeah, I think
You know,
the
labeled on it?
agreements they're representing what they are putting into the space. So yes, what we would know what's in each space.
And it's
So if
something,
it's furniture, you know, they list furniture. If it's tools or, you know, whatever, you know, it could be just like any other storage facility. They all have separate agreements that they enter, and
Yes.
they have to disclose what they're putting in.
Yeah, you're entering into a lease, and then, I would
That
say for,
determines what we put you to.
yeah,
where
for
they
the
put
most
them,
part,
so.
I would say it's household stuff. It's, you know, an individual person who doesn't have
right.
the space or the
Furniture,
moving,
furniture, outdoor
stuff like
equipment,
that.
stuff like that. That's the majority of it. But you know, again, like I said, it's determined where it goes also by
Right.
what they're putting in there.
Yeah, John, they're all, I've rented those storage units over the years. There's one thing, you cannot have any hazardous material.
Combustibles.
Any acetylene. A 10 cubic foot, that's considered hazardous material. So it's not allowable. I mean, you know, if somebody puts it in there, what are you gonna do? But
Right.
can't store it there. It's part of the lease.
Matt, I was not here when they made their appearance, so I'm just wondering, there were quite a few things that had to be done.
Correct. We have conditions that need to be met prior to final. I can go through them if you want. It's changes on the plan largely.
Well, basically, I just want to know that they submitted a new plan.
They haven't submitted a new plan yet. There are conditions of this approval that they'll have to meet before final.
That's in here.
That's in here, yep. So those are conditions. If you want me to go through the revisions, I can tell you if you want. It'll take me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, so prior to final, they'll need DOT approval for any work they're gonna do in the right-of-way, SWIP approval from the town engineer, and then revisions to the plans. They'll need to revise to comply with the engineer's comments. He made a few comments in terms of drainage. Same thing for the fire marshal. They'll have to comply with all the applicable conditions of the letter of order availability. They need to provide their impervious surface calculation. Provide a sidewalk along 25. All parking needs to be indicated as 10 by 20. They'll need to provide 3 loading spaces. Indicate that the egress onto 25 is right turn only. Cross access to this parcel and this parcel, this is the medical complex here. This is Dairyland. And then the landscape plan, I just have some better species that are native species that we're asking for. They'll need to demonstrate compliance with the buffering requirement for the town code. If you guys remember when we discussed the staff report, Ken, I can bring you up to speed on this. There's a 10-foot buffering requirement because it adjoins residences. And my suggestion was either to do it at the property line, which would be along this area, because these are all residential uses, or at the limited disturbance where this fence is. They could also do like an evergreen here because it'll essentially serve the same function.
All right, did the applicant receive a copy of your comments?
They have.
You're familiar?
Yeah.
Yep. And then just a couple of changes to the elevations. For the ARB, there was a color change. Mounting height of all the lighting. and then just some revisions to the photometric plan. So a little bit of tweaks on the site plan, but it's largely there.
And actually, Matt, the building itself is pretty far back.
Yes.
Probably almost 200 feet back, approximately.
Yeah, I think it probably calls it out on there. It doesn't actually, but yeah, it's pretty far. Close to 200. Any other questions?
Pretty good? You might want to stick around, there is a resolution on.
That's it for me.
Okay, moving right along, let's talk about West Main Street redevelopment.
All right, I will just ask some of the representatives from the applicant to come up and join in the discussion, if they'd like. Yeah, sure.
You can have your long seat.
Justin, can we just zoom in on that a little bit?
And gentlemen, if we could get all your names for the record, please.
There we go.
Ray Dickoff, Aquabog.
Frank Fisher? Martin Saluski, architect. All right, thank you. So what we have is a preliminary site plan application, which is seeking approval to redevelop an existing commercial site. This site previously housed the Blackman Plumbing Supply Wholesale business, as well as the Advanced Imaging System business. Redevelopment of the site will consist of demolition of the existing buildings and the parking areas, construct 2 new buildings, one of them being a 3-story, 153,000 square foot self-storage building, the other being a 1-story, 49,700 square foot non-nuisance tenant rental building. Parking, paving, landscaping, drainage, and new water connections are proposed, and the applicant has petitioned for an extension of the Riverhead Sewer District.
What's the legal term for a non-nuisance tenant?
So the code allows wholesale business, which in our code is described as it does leave a lot of room for interpretation. The code defines wholesale business as any industry which is not detrimental to the environment in which it is located by reason of the emission of noise, smoke, odor, dust, dirt, gas, glare, heat, liquid, fire hazards, industrial waste, transportation, and traffic, and which does not include any open storage yard or outdoor processing materials. So it is a very permissive terminology. We looked at it and we did, I spoke with the applicant. Self-storage is typically a very low traffic generator. The Institute of Traffic Engineers has its trip generation at 0.09 trips per hour per 1,000 square feet, which roughly is about 10 trips per hour for a 100,000 square foot building. So just sort of extrapolate it out, this is not anticipated to be a high trip generation use. Again, it's quiet, there's no noise associated with it, so I did look at it and I would consider the self-storage to be wholesale business under that pretty broad definition. The non-nuisance tenant rental is sort of another story that I think is a little bit too vague of a description of a use. I think that needs to be expanded upon. So we'll just kind of just go back a little bit. So the redevelopment of the site, it is a type 1 action under our town code. There was a full environmental assessment form that was submitted back in November, which was found there were a number of errors and deficiencies and inaccuracies. We're still waiting on submission of a revised full EAF, so before we can type the action and classify it and begin secret coordination, we need that to be filled out accurately.
That's everything on page 2?
Yeah, that was just kind of me running through it and sort of detailing things that need to be addressed. The proper approvals, identifying that it's in the New York State Heritage area, cut and fill calculations. For example, it was filled out, said that the proposed action will not create a new demand for water. And just a couple of other little sections that should be filled out using DEC's EAF mapping tool. Yeah, and in terms of the project site, it actually consists of 6 contiguous properties located on the north side of West Main Street. The total project area is 258,000 square feet, which is about 5.9 acres. And it's located within the Peconic River community or the PRC zoning use district. And the site is also located within the New York State DEC Wild, Scenic, and Recreational Rivers area.
They got a permit yet? Have a permit yet?
I don't believe they have the DEC permit yet, but again, we will coordinate with the DEC once we get the amended EAF, and we'll classify that.
You said it's a type 1, right?
Correct, it
The
is a site.
secret application says type 2.
Type 2 on,
I mean, again, that's incorrect. So there was a number of things that were filled out incorrectly, so I'll work with the applicant to make sure they, address those items. And again, before we take any action on it, that'll need to be filled out properly. I did note that there was some illegal clearing on a portion of the property, which was done without any kind of site plan approval or approvals from the town. There was a driveway made of mixed crushed concrete, brick, and stone material that created a new access from West Main Street. I did take some pictures of there on a site visit on page 5 of the staff report. Code enforcement has been out there. They did issue stop work orders. It appears as though those stop work orders are being ignored. So there is a provision in the town code which states that if any land clearing, site work, building construction, or alteration is commenced prior to final site plan approval, the site plan fee shall be doubled. So in addition to the amended EAF and the correct paperwork, the site plan fee will need to be doubled before we take any action.
Based on your figure 1, where is the driveway?
So there is I would say it is probably within tax map number 124-3-3. There is a telephone pole. I would say it's probably about midway through that 124-3-3.
Will that probably be an entrance that you'll have?
So that gate was originally always there. We didn't clear anything, it was just overgrown. The driveway that was there originally was overgrown, so there wasn't anything cleared. We just put some crushed concrete down to stop the flooding.
Will that be one of your entrances?
No, the whole site's gonna be all totally new. So this is, anything there now is just temporary until we get, through this process. No, there wasn't anything.
Out on the road, out on West Main Street, you'll see there is an apron,
Right.
an existing apron on the road, and there was an existing gate in the back corner, so it was there, and it was just overgrown again, like we said, we
And
cleared
we
it back
just,
out.
if anybody knows, it was the neighbor across the street who's just trying to make waves and called the call, that's all it was. So, and he's got major problems with the town, and so that's what happened.
A while back, the property did have houses on it, and I recall from being in the area with friends when I was a kid.
Blackman bought
And there's
them all
a driveway
as
there with about
sale.
4 houses, so that was actually the access roadway. I think it was a private drive at the time for the houses along each side of that area.
Yeah, it wasn't trees, it was just like tall grasses, it was just tall grasses, that's all it was.
But I noticed there's a
Gates there,
storage
curb cuts
facility
there.
in the back there.
Yeah, so that was the parking lot for the Blackman Plumbing Supply
We
site.
used to have all the
storage
pipes
yard.
and all the different plumbing materials were stored back there. It's all paved. They had, Blackman had all the outdoor, like the long legs of pipes and different stuff,
Oil tanks.
fittings, yeah, they had stuff out there. Used to work there when I was a kid. The one on Fifth
And
and
what
Sound Avenue too.
what are all the cars doing back there now?
They're just stored.
For who they stored for?
Just stored. For what? What do you mean stored? Just
You're gonna
stored.
have to remove them.
What's that?
You're gonna remove them.
Yeah, everything there is temporary, so that's all coming out, we're knocking this place down. It's, everything there is just temporary until we get through this process, because this is probably a 2-year, I'm guessing, process to get to a building permit. And then everything gets knocked out, cleaned out, and then we're gonna put a brand-new, beautiful building, in its place.
Is there proposed outside storage there also?
I don't wanna do outside storage, I don't like the look of it. I don't wanna do outside, I just want everything nice and clean inside the building. So I think we had room for it, but I pulled that off, because, I don't like the outside storage, it looks unkept. I like
It's
things
actually
neat.
precluded, and it's not permitted under the zoning, even under the definition of wholesale business, so there is no outdoor storage.
Doesn't even, yeah, I wouldn't put it on if I could. I don't like it. I don't like
Are
campers
there
and
any
stuff
other
like that.
uses besides storage?
Are there any other uses? I don't know. This was what I planned on doing, so I don't know the other uses. I'm sure there
All
probably
your
some.
plans are just for storage?
For storage, yeah,
Yeah.
just for storage, yeah, yep,
That was
yeah,
my question.
yep. Oh, I thought you meant in general on the property.
No.
All right.
Have you been to the DEC at all?
I think we're in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're already in, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, no, we did the same thing we
You're
did on
within
Cromer. We
that
had the,
500 foot, you're within that 500 foot, you know, corridor, not corridor, but,
Scenic Wild
vegetation
Rivers.
from and 11 feet, you have an 11-foot, you know, the water table is over there, you're gonna be drowning in that basement.
We have a,
There's water there at something like 8 feet.
we have.
I
a-
think
we have a test
Yeah, we
hole.
did test hole, we're
Did
good.
test hole?
Yeah, because we're up higher if that
We're
road.
we're much higher.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
hit water at 11 feet below
Okay,
grade.
so, yeah, I mean, I would say 8 and 9.
Yeah.
You're a little bit higher.
And you're gonna have a basement.
Yes.
What's the, what are you gonna use the basement for? I see there's a ramp down there. that
Yeah,
looks
some
like-
more, we need storage, car.
The
Car
key,
storage?
I mean,
the key to that
Parking.
is water was hit at 8, what was it? Oh, what was the number, Greg?
I think 11 feet below grade.
Okay, it was
was
hit at
elevation
11 feet
5.5.
below, but it was taken at elevation 17. The floor of this building is set at elevation 22. So, I know 6.5 acres, where that test hole was actually taken was 6 some odd feet below where we're gonna have our floor. So, it won't be an issue to have the basement that we
I mean,
proposed.
they've relaxed that a little bit, but it's, I have a piece of property on the same side of the street. I know.
Why would you take a test hole, not exactly where the basement's going?
It's a 6.2 acre site, we put.
I know, I understand that, but you should have a pretty good idea on where the building is going. Why wouldn't you do a test hole there?
Because I did the test hole the year before, I had a drawing of where the building was gonna be. I did a test hole on the property and got the elevation of that test hole, where it's taken. And then we have an elevation of the existing highway, the elevation of our entrances, and the elevation of where our floor is gonna be.
Right.
So, I mean,
So to just touch on, so the basement will come into play in terms of the discussion. So the application right now as proposed requires 3 variances from Riverhead Town Code. The first being is the increase in proposed floor area ratio. The applicant's proposing 78.65%, where a maximum of 60% is permitted. Just for the board's knowledge, the proposal is for 203,100 square feet, where the maximum permitted is 154,920, which is approximately 50,000 square feet of additional floor area of what's permitted. That is it's 18.65% above what's permitted, and the main driver of that increase in floor area is those basements. They require a variance from impervious surface coverage. Currently proposed is 46.4%. The maximum permitted is 40. And the proposed natural landscape area is 38.23%, where the minimum required is 50%. So I did include just a 5-point balancing test that the Zoning Board of Appeals looks at for when they do get to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And I mean, I'm hesitant to use this word because it is a bit subjective, but I think this is really an overdevelopment of the property. There's a few factors that I look in when I say that. One, the increased floor area. I mean, 50,000 additional square feet above what's permitted, that's a significant variance. There has been case law throughout New York State where Zoning Board of Appeals throughout the state have denied an application seeking in excess of 15%, which they found to be excessive. This application's at 18.65. I did also note in the staff report, on the site plan, you can see there's basically the entire, I will say almost the entirety of the parking supply is being proposed as pervious pavement. Now, our town code does allow alternative paving techniques, which include pervious pavers. At the discretion, upon approval from the planning board, the town's consulting engineer, and the town engineer. I did receive comments from the town engineer as well as Vinnie Gaudiello. From an engineering perspective, they said they could manage the stormwater, they could be appropriate. However, in this case, I look at it, the use of pervious pavers should not be used to provide your entire supply of parking. So for the board's knowledge, if this application were to propose impervious asphalt, they would be at about 154,000 square feet of impervious, which would be 19.7% impervious. I think the use of pervious pavers in this is really just to provide the entire parking supply, which would not be allowable under the current zoning. So that's my take on it. I just think pervious pavers should not be used to increase the intensity of development on a property. if it was on a case-by-case basis, where you're going to using gravel area, gravel paving in certain areas. But this is really just to facilitate the increased floor area, which again, they're seeking a variance for. The fact that they're not able to meet the landscaped area, they're reducing the amount of landscaped area that they're able to provide. So I think when you look at those three factors, I think it's just an intense development on the subject property.
All right, that's probably gonna be more of an issue for the zoning board, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on that right now.
But it does come into play because the planning board, in order to use the pervious pavers, the planning board has to approve it, as well as the town engineer and the consulting engineer. So in fact, you, board, need to say, yes, we approve the use of pervious pavers for this application or not.
Can I ask a question?
The consulting engineer, is that Vinnie Guardiola?
Yeah.
Is that pervious pavers only that you're talking about, or there's pervious concrete, there's pervious asphalt, there's pervious pavers? I mean, there are other pervious hardtack that we could use.
So from an engineering standpoint, both Drew and Vinnie said from an engineering standpoint, and a stormwater management standpoint, they were acceptable. There were some minor modifications that could be done in terms of capacity, but this is just sort of a principled question for the board of allowing, you're looking at an application that proposes significant increase in floor area, reduction in landscaped areas, which is being facilitated by providing like 35,000 square feet worth of pervious pavers.
I did put the site plan back here, another copy of it. If you look at the way that we utilize the pervious pavers on the site, along the building to the east, the entire entrance in the front area, fronting the road, is in the pervious pavers, which we feel is a really good look. And in the property to the west, what we have is we have the driving areas, the driveways, the roadways through the parking lot as asphalt, better for plowing, et cetera. But there we have the parking spaces as pervious pavers. That's sort of a nice touch in terms of, helping delineate the parking versus the driveway. The pavers can be striped, et cetera. So, we see it not only as it does cut down on the impervious surface, but we actually are using it as a design tool. We think that there's, it's a good design tool. We have, the designated parking areas done in the pervious paver, and here the main front entrance of the whole, storage building done with the pervious paver is just a nice look, so I think that's the benefit of the
When it was used at the Hyatt, it's a beautiful look between the Hyatt and Jerry's. That whole front area along the road is all pervious pavers, and it is a beautiful look, because you can do the edging, you can do the striping, you can do everything on it.
It's a lot more expensive than pavement too.
Oh,
A lot more expensive. A lot more expensive. And then the additional area that we're talking about is the basement. So it's not any more ground cover, it's just going down. And it's just, why wouldn't we put a basement in? It doesn't make sense not to. We're doing the construction, we have to put footings in anyway, so why not just go down the extra, 6 feet of concrete walls to make a full basement? Right? It just doesn't make sense not to put the basement in. So I would take my chances and ask for that variance, because why not? It's not affecting anything. It's not more ground, it's not more parking, it's not more anything. It's just the basement. And how could, the price of land today, you want to try to maximize every inch you can. I mean, you need storage, we need. So it's the basement. Why? It just makes sense. Why wouldn't we put it in?
I'm not debating any of that, but the basement's 11 feet finished.
It's what?
It's 11 feet finished according to your.
That's great, right?
It's 11 feet finished. That's pretty deep, that's pretty high. You could do a lot of things down there. I mean, I'm not,
Well, we're
Let
gonna
me ask you a question. These 3,750 square foot units that you have, walls are concrete block, I'm assuming? Poured or concrete block?
The exterior walls or the interior?
The dividers in between the two
Interior walls.
spaces.
Oh, they're like a
steel.
pre-engineered metal wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so
By-
it's an
by-
engineered
Like an erector set.
So they can come down pretty easily, and you could double, triple, quadruple if
You
you
could,
wanted to rent.
but yeah, I mean, once
Right.
you have full feasibility studies where we've hired professionals in the storage that do feasibility studies, and they recommend, X amount of certain size spaces, bigger units on the lower floors, smaller units on the upper floors, and so that's all been done by professionals in the industry. So it's a full feasibility study, and we hired two companies to two separate feasibility studies, and and unit layout. They call it the unit layouts. So they, you know, you don't really want to put them in and move them around.
And one of the bigger needs with regard to storage also, which is the primary reason the basement's there, especially on the eastern building, there's a real need for high-end vehicle storage, you know, and not.
There is, that's the whole idea.
Not the,
Climate controlled.
not the unconditioned, you know, you can go to some of the storage units that are, you know, the single-story buildings, and they're unheated, and, you know, you put a car in there, it's in an unheated space. A lot of the higher-end people looking for storage vehicles, especially during winter months, whatever, there's really a demand for that, and that's where the basement comes into play, because it's a
It'll be
perfect.
fully climate controlled, that's what we have, climate controlled, fully climate controlled.
I see each unit has access to the mezzanine. What's the mezzanine? Is the mezzanine a hard floor, or is it expanded metal?
That's hard floor. That's a fixed mezzanine, yeah. The building to the west, the building to the east is a
That's the
storage
one we're
building.
referring to,
Building
the
to the
building
west,
to the west, yeah.
is more of a tenant occupied building that could include, you know, they can include, different uses, that, wholesale industry, whatever. They may have some storage in that building's basement. They may have some office space up above on the mezzanine. So, you know, we want to create some flexibility in the space. They may have a retail area in the front, retail's permitted, so they could have a retail underneath. You know, a company office up above, they could have storage of material in the back. It's really gonna depend on tenant needs.
How does this fit in, Greg, with the master plan? Any,
We're not really, there's not really major changes proposed in this area.
no?
I mean, it would still be consistent with, I believe, with what we're doing with the master plan.
It's gonna be a lot nicer than what's there, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, I'm not,
Marty, what's the height of the building on the storage building?
It goes up, the height is 30,
I think it's 34.
It's 35 to the top of the tower.
yeah, 34. That is correct.
All right, but does the parapet count also? I see some at 39 on the rental part. Those are-
Parapets are actually,
Yeah, the parapet-
there's a provision in our code, parapets are excluded. Basically, 5 foot worth of parapet is excluded. That's
Okay,
correct.
so that's within the legal limits of the code. Marty, how many units are in the rental building? You have any idea?
In this building?
In
The 107,
The self-storage or
The self-storage.
107, right? 107, I believe. Right, Frank?
I counted 700 units.
Where? No, you're talking about the storage facility, it's 716, I think.
That doesn't include the basement.
No, no, well, the basement's not gonna have units, that's not gonna be
But
units.
it's still gonna be storage.
Yeah, it'd be storage, but not like individual units. The basement's the whole idea for that is for car storage, because we have a lot of tenants that they just don't have enough space at home for their car storage. I belong to a car club, so we have a lot of people that just need car storage.
One last thought I had too was, these are pretty good-sized buildings. If you go downtown and you look at a couple of the apartment buildings that have been put up in the last few years, the one on McDermott is just like a big monster, not very attractive. And I go to the building that you did on the other side of Peconic, and you have 3 or 4 different facades. It's still a big building, but it doesn't give you the impression that it's a big building. It has those different looks. So my thought was, and I liked your elevations, nice, but I was just wondering if it wouldn't make sense to make them different. You know, just so it doesn't look like this great big monster.
We're open to any of that, man. I wanna make this thing beautiful. You
Yeah.
gotta understand, guys, I don't build to sell. I'm keeping these for life, so I'm putting my name on this thing, and I have pride of ownership. So you guys, did you see the building at Third Street that we did, the apartment complex at Third Street? The whole town loves that. We have police officers coming by, looking at it for ideas to build their own places. I'm building this stuff to keep it. I wanna drive by and be proud of this. This isn't gonna be just some moshed up building. We're gonna put in, listen, we'll have stonework, it's gonna have, I mean, it's gonna be
The
beautiful.
elevations look good.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it wouldn't make sense to break it up.
Absolutely.
Like you did downtown. It doesn't give you that great big behemoth.
Right.
Sure.
One of the things that we're really looking at right now is the fact that we need to get a denial to go to the zoning board. I know there's a coordinated review with it being a type 1 action, which should be. And therefore, they're the ones that, on the judicial end, that have the say as to what these numbers are going to end up being. So that could or could not affect all of these things.
Yeah, I
you know.
understand.
So we're sort of hoping to, and that's one thing that's gonna be a fixed determination when we go there.
Right, they're
So
quasi-judicial,
we're-
they're
yeah.
not.
So we're hoping we can get the denial to then go to the zoning board and hopefully then be back after that, having another, another discussion as to where we are.
Marty, have you ever done a three-story building like this for self-storage? Have you ever done it three stories?
Actually, I'm not the designer for this self-storage building. There's an architect that's from, he's up in.
Upstate.
Upstate, it's,
There are a couple of architectural firms that
Specialize in storage.
storage buildings, so I'm not designing the storage building at all. I'm designing the west
Site
building,
plan.
the west building, and doing the site plan, and development work.
I just, in my opinion, I have yet to see a three-story self-storage building out here. And 700 units is a lot of units, whether you can, minimize the traffic and everything else. I just think that's putting 10 pounds of sand in a 5-pound bag.
Not really though, because we have all the apartments on Main Street, and now whatever's gonna happen in Riverside with all the new apartments going there, we're just gonna need storage. And it's better to have it in one spot instead of popped up all over the place. And this is out of the way. It's not right in Main Street. It's down the road. The location's perfect. You couldn't be in a better spot. It's out of the way. It's not putting any
Well,
traffic on Main Street.
West Main Street is not your best highway to handle any extra traffic, I don't believe. Because I just sat at that property for an hour today. And with the possible retail going on the west building, it's not gonna be as easy as you guys think it is. I've lived in Riverhead my whole life. And I just think it's a little oversized, in my opinion. Trust me, the place needs a cleanup, and I agree with that. But for me, it's a little much.
I'd like to say one thing more about you're petitioning not to hook up to the sewer.
What's that?
You have a petition to
Yeah.
Extend the sewer.
eliminate your sewer hookup.
No,
No,
They're
yeah,
extending the
Yeah,
sewer.
we're bringing this.
Oh, well.
Yeah, right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
the sewer district, I believe it does not encompass the westernmost.
I misread it then. I
Yeah.
thought
They are extending the sewer to connect the entire.
Yeah, Mike Reichel's on board with that, he's happy, he likes that. Yeah, 'cause it's right on the corner of the property already, so we're
I
gonna,
know, it's across the street,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Okay.
Now, these 6 lots are all still independent lots, tax, right?
yes, they're
So- and-
independent tax.
And you guys own all 6?
All of them, yeah, it was all one purchase, it came as one purchase.
Okay, so
From Blackman.
you would have to make it all one lot?
Again,
One-
yeah,
one good- one tax
That's
lot.
how we gotta do.
Yeah, it'll
Yes,
be
they
one
would
tax.
work.
Yeah, I'd rather do that.
So the question at this point before the board, are you okaying the use of the pervious pavers? Because that will dictate whether or not we can really process
Right.
the application. even
I am
before-
basically okay with it, but I would like to talk to Vinnie Gordiello and get his opinion also.
I'm pretty much the same.
Want to see his report.
I'm not good with that. I'd rather see it shrink a little bit and then have more land around it that can absorb the water to get them within the limit.
I think what we should do is see what happens at the zoning board of appeals.
Well, so before they even get to the zoning board, and I've explained this to Marty, because it's a type 1 action, they're not going to the zoning board until we get a correct full EAF, and we begin the coordinated review. So they're not getting to the zoning board in the absence of that information, and even more so, the planning board, in order to say, yes, we want you to proceed with the application as it's proposing the 46.4% impervious, the board has to okay that.
I'm okay with the pavers because it's pervious.
I
I think
believe
it's gonna look
I
good.
believe we have three yeses. George, you
Straw
okay with
poll,
the
guys,
pervious?
yes or no?
No,
Yeah, no.
no.
Yeah, I'm not opposed because, I mean, it's on this property's on the railroad tracks, on top of all that, so.
And like I said, Vinnie and Drew, both from an engineering standpoint, with some slight storage modification, they okayed the concept. So it wasn't an engineering issue.
Okay.
So if we've got 3 yeses, we could proceed again. I still need a full and accurate EAF before we can classify the action, before they even get to the zoning board. So, and the board has to make a determination of significance before the zoning board can act. So it's not like getting to the zoning board is just the key in the door.
It's down the road a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else? Okay, find my agenda, we'll move on.
All right.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you, guys, thank you very much.
See you again.
Thanks, Ray. I'll get you the back right away. I just-
Okay, let's move on to our third discussion item,
Talk to firemen.
Sandy Pond Mini Golf Course with Greg Berman.
Self-storage is not an intense wording. Yeah. You're welcome. All right, so this is just a quick update on the Sandy Pond Lakes Mini Golf Course site plan application. Back at the first meeting in February, the board granted preliminary approval for the construction of the 18-hole mini golf course, associated parking area, and there was a small attendant kiosk. There were a number of conditions in that preliminary approval. This is just a follow-up. The applicant did submit the final application Tuesday afternoon. I do apologize, I had to take a sick day yesterday, otherwise I would have had the resolution prepared earlier. But all the conditions were met. The biggest one that was out there were 2 outstanding ones. One was the stormwater pollution prevention plan. The applicant did review that with the town engineer. It was determined that a stormwater pollution prevention plan was not required. So that crossed off that box, and then there was the outstanding final site plan fee, which again, because there was illegal clearing done on the property, that site plan fee was doubled, so the applicant submitted the necessary information to the planning department on Tuesday afternoon. So we're here for we have a final approval resolution. There was one slight modification. I believe Member Zilnicki was speaking with the applicant. So there was a slight relocation of the entrance driveway. It moved slightly south. Again, still just one curb cut,
It's about 150 feet south.
150 feet south, so it'll move it further away from that intersection of Joyce Drive. Slight modification, again, doesn't change the substance of the site plan. They still meet the requisite parking. So we do have a final approval resolution on. There are a couple of conditions in there that need to be met prior to building permit, prior to the issuance of a CO. One of them being the recording of CNRs in the property, the covenants and restrictions, which restrict the hours of operation to say the mini golf course will close at 10 p.m. That was a condition of the town board granting the special permit. It was carried through in the board's preliminary approval resolution. And the formalization of the drainage easement on the property. Right now, the board, they may recall, there are stormwater pipes that go from Roanoke Avenue and actually discharge stormwater into one of the water features on the golf course. As I understand, this was done probably between 20 or 30 years ago. I think it was maybe just a handshake deal. So this is an opportunity to formalize that drainage easement. That was it. There will be key money prior to the issuance of the CO for the Riverhead Water District and Health Department. As I understand, Young and Young submitted information. They did just recently update their sanitary system. I just want confirmation that the system is sized appropriately for the use. So we have the final approval resolution on. If the board has any other questions.
I have no questions.
We're good?
Kim, with the miniature golf, the only bathrooms are back at the pro shop,
Yes,
right, in the existing pro shop?
yes,
Will there be future bathrooms closer?
yes. In the future, yes.
Because as you know, with little kids, it's a long
Yes.
way to hold it.
Kim, could you just state your name for the record?
Kimberly Judd, 737 Roanoke Avenue, Riverhead, New York, for the applicants.
Thank you.
So the applicant, so for the board's aware, the property owner will be back before the board here sometime soon. They did submit a special permit for an expansion of a future clubhouse. The reason that was not considered when we had the mini golf application submitted was because at that point, the owner hadn't yet taken title. So they did not have the ability, the owners of the property at that time would not give Mr. Stark authorization to make an application for the clubhouse. So it wasn't that we were segmenting the review, it was that they were unable to actually make the application, it wasn't within their power. So they have submitted that application for that future clubhouse, which will be in proximity to the mini golf course, and that's likely where additional restroom
So
facilities.
when they get that approval, then they'll own the entire parcel.
So
We closed on it on December 22nd. So my client, Sandy Pond Links, purchased the property from Riverhead Cement Block Company on December 22nd of this past year.
really close, so they
2023.
now do own the property, so now they're able to make those.
He was acting as contract vendee.
Yes.
Okay, now he's,
We were the applicant, and actually, the Buckholz family had to sign the owner's endorsement for this application for the mini golf course.
anything else, anybody?
Okay.
And
Thank
just
you
say,
very much.
hurry up so I can break 100 on 16 holes.
Thank you for hearing us.
Public comments, any, on resolutions, anybody? Gentlemen, let's go to resolutions, please.
Move resolution number 26 for extra space in Riverhead.
Second?
Moved and seconded, may we have a vote, gentlemen? Mr. Zilnicki,
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro.
Aye.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
And I vote aye. The motion carries.
I'll move resolution 2024-27 for Sandy Pond Mini Golf to grant final site plan approval. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, may we have a vote, please? Mr. Zilnicki.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro.
Aye.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion carries.
Resolution 2024-028, Long Island Cauliflower Association Commercial Center. Resolution granting 6 months extension of preliminary site approval for a site plan application.
Second?
Moved and seconded, may we have a vote, please? Mr. Zilnicki.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro.
Aye.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
And I vote aye. The motion carries. Public comments on any issues at all? Not looking good.
Stand up at once.
We have no minutes of the meetings.
No minutes.
Any other business, staff? Any other business members?
Nope.
Kenny, do you have any update on the driveway of the Terry property on Roanoke?
I spoke to Bob about 3 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and as soon as the weather clears, and he wants to move it.
Well,
Matter of fact, when I was there, 3 trucks were pulling out, and it does get dusty in that area, so I will stop and see him again.
all right, keep us updated.
Okay.
If nothing else needs to be taken care of business-wise, we can close the meeting. We'll see you, the next planning board business day will be April 4th at 6 PM. We can make a motion to close?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.